They don't have that makeup. And he's going to tell you that right here. That's a whole nother ball game. But man is good for trying to bring everything down to his little level. Yeah, them angels slept with them women. Luke 20 and verse 27. 20 and 27. Go ahead.
Then came to him certain of the Sadducees, which denied that there is any resurrection. They asked him, saying, Master, Moses wrote unto us, if any man's brother die, having a wife, and he die without children, that his brother should take his wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. There were therefore 7 brethren, and the first took a wife, and died without children. And the second took her to wife, and he died childless. And the third took her, and in like manner the 7th also, and they left no children, and died. Last of all the women died also. Therefore the resurrection, whose wife of them is she? For the 7 had her to wife. Okay, see now, this is the same type of stuff we dealing with tonight. Some narrow-minded people that don't want to believe the word of God. Same type of stuff. These people come to Jesus with a so-called trick question according to their narrow mind. That's why I said at the beginning, verse 27, then came to him certain of the Sadducees. These were these fleshly-minded people, can't see nothing beyond what they see with the natural eye. Sadducees, kind of like what we call modern day, we got old school Hebrews, or you got Muslims that don't want to act like nothing spiritual exists. That's why you don't hear even brothers that call themselves Muslim, you don't hear them talking about nothing spiritual. It's all just here and now, flesh and blood. That's it. You don't hear them talking about an angel or nothing spiritual. Resurrection. They think that's, something concocted. They got to be able to feel it and touch it. That's what they believe. Well, that's the same way these people were back here, the Sadducees. That's why I said the Sadducees, which deny, at verse 27, they denied that there is any resurrection. They also denied that there was a such thing as angels, really. Anything spiritual. They deny that there is any resurrection. Now, they don't believe in a resurrection, but they're going to ask him a question about the resurrection because they're trying to trick him. So they're going to ask him a little fleshly question about this woman that married 7 people, and now she got to pick one in the resurrection who she going to be married to. Well, that don't make no sense, Jesus. How you going to explain that one? Let's see how he explained it. Verse 34. And Jesus answering said unto them, the children of this world marry, and are given in marriage.
See, in the other scripture, he said point blank in Matthew, flip over, keep your finger right here in Luke 20, flip over to Matthew 22. I'm going to show you what he really said because he blew on them a little bit with this foolishness. Keep your finger in Luke 20, go to Matthew 22. It's the same thing. 28. Matthew 22 and verse 28. Go ahead.
Therefore in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. Jesus answered and said unto them, ye do err, not knowing the scripture, nor the power of God.
See what Jesus told them? You do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of God. See, this is the one the brother like to read because next verse said what? Verse 30. Go ahead.
For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. So in the resurrection,
they don't do that. She ain't got to worry about picking a husband. I remember we read this one Sabbath, and an older sister that was here, she had been married just twice, not 7 times like the scenario they made. She had been married twice, and in her own mind, she wasn't really caught up on what they had caught up on, but in her own mind, she was wondering if she was going to have to pick later on. She was. And when we read this, she came to me after the lesson. She said, I'm so glad to find that out. You don't know that was on my mind. I thought, God, I'm going to have to pick which one I'm going to be with. No, you ain't got to worry about that.
That's the flesh stuff. That's according to the flesh. That's why he said, you do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of God, for in the resurrection. So that's what we striving. We striving to get out of this lowly plane that we on and in, this fleshly realm. We striving to leave this and go to a higher level where you ain't dealing with this fleshly stuff. So in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. But notice who we compared to. He said, but are as the angels of God in heaven. So that means what that tell you about the angels. They don't marry and are given in marriage. If you're going to be like them and you're not going to do it right, they don't do that. Now, the brother tried to get smart, and he said, oh, brother, that said the angels of God in heaven. See, they had left heaven. Look, if they got kicked out of heaven, they no longer sons of God. See, you can't have it both ways. Either way, your neck is going to be cut. Either way, you just take it how you want it. You still can't call them sons of God then. You're going to tell me they ain't in heaven. Why they ain't in heaven? Because they got the boot. They no longer worthy to be sons of God. So that wouldn't have been talking about them in Genesis 6. But now go back to Luke 20. Luke 20 and verse 34. Go ahead.
And Jesus answering said unto them, the children of this world marry and are given in marriage. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage.
See, making it plain. The children of this world. Are angels children of this world? No. The children of this world are given in marriage. They marry and are given in marriage. We go through this thing, right? 35. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world, that's a future world. And the resurrection from the dead, neither what?
Neither can they die.
Neither, finish 35, I'm sorry.
But they which shall account worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage.
See, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. You don't do that in the resurrection. You're going to be a spirit being. Angels are spirit beings. Go ahead, 36. What else you don't do, which is good? We should not want to do this stuff. Especially 36, what?
Neither can they die anymore.
Oh, we don't want to keep dying, do we? That's why, because you're coming out the grave on another realm. Neither can they die anymore, but a what?
For they are equal unto the angels.
Oh, they equal unto the angels. You trying to leave this fleshly realm and get where the angels at, and then you got people trying to pull the angels down to this realm, saying they slept with somebody. Neither can they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels, and are what?
And are the children of God.
And are the children of God. Go ahead.
Being the children of the resurrection.
See, angels are children of God too. We trying to get on par with them on that level. They don't do none of the stuff we partake in though. They don't even die. That's why the same devil that was in the Garden of Eden that deceived Eve is the same devil roaming around here almost 6,000 years later trying to deceive us. Same one. Because he don't die. He don't marry nobody either. You know, when you was a kid growing up, they made you think the devil had a wife. That was the witch. And he used to beat her around the pot. That's when it was raining and the sun was shining. You heard that, ain't you? Devil beating his wife, he beating. See, you might as well go for that stuff then. But now, move a little further. Genesis 4. Now, see, it's not enough. See, we know not only that it wasn't no angels that slept with these women in Genesis 6, we know who it was. See, it's easy to say it wasn't. But when you get through saying it wasn't, tell me what it was. See, we're going to show you what it was. We're going to show you exactly who it was. It ain't no mystery around it. Genesis 4 and verse 8. Because it didn't say angels, it said the sons of God. We sons of God now. The Bible said, beloved, now are we the sons of God. And what manner of love it is that we should be called the sons of God. Genesis 4:8. Go ahead.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
See, Cain was wicked. Cain didn't want to obey God, and he turned around and killed his own brother for no reason at all, because he was jealous over him, because he trying to do the right thing. Happens still to this day. He killed his brother Abel. Skip down to verse 16, because God passed sentence on Cain, and he disinherited Cain. Just like those fallen angels, when they showed up, Satan showed up, it didn't call him a son of God, because he had got kicked out from that position. Same thing with Cain. Notice this, 16, go ahead.
And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord.
See, now the Lord disinherited Cain, passed sentence on him, and kicked him out. So it said Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, what?
And dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden.
So he dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. But see, Cain is still dwelling, isn't he? See, that's the key. Nobody pay attention to Cain's still around, and Cain is getting ready to populate. People say, where he get a wife from? He had to get a wife from where everybody else got a wife from. Some of his sisters that came from Adam and Eve. Because wasn't nobody else there. The Bible say Eve is the mother of all the living. He had to get a wife from there. But still, he gone, and he dwelling on the east of Eden. 17.
And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch.
Oh, now Cain is producing, right? He done got kicked out, and because he killed his brother, but he's still producing. He knew his wife, and she conceived and bare a son, called his name Enoch. Not to be confused with the Enoch that was translated. That was one of Seth's descendants, which we're going to get to him. But he had a son named Enoch. Go ahead, 18.
And he built a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch.
See, not only did he have Enoch, a son, he built a city. Cain still living. This is what you have to pay attention to. Go ahead. And he built a city, called it after his son Enoch. 18.
And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot man.
Wait a minute. Cain is going on. His seed is going on and on and on. That shows you how merciful the Lord is. This brother, he done killed his own brother Abel for no reason. Abel dead, ain't had no children. The Lord still blessed him to have children. But see, I know the Lord gonna get him in the end. But he let him go ahead and live on, didn't he? Not only did he live on, his seed lived on. He had grandchildren and great-grandchildren on down the line, right? It say Enoch, and unto Enoch was born Irad. That would have been Cain's grandson, right? And Irad begot Mahujael. That would have been his great-grandson, right? Go ahead.
And Mahujael begot Methusael.
Methusael, not Methuselah. Methusael, they was naming using the same type of names on both sides of the tracks. Because we looking at one side of the tracks now with Cain's descendants. This is where the daughters of men gonna come in at. And we're going to get to the sons of God in a minute, because that's what it said in Genesis 6. We in Genesis 4. We working our way back to Genesis 6. We just reading the background now and see what went on prior. We working our way back up there. See how we got to the point where the sons of God married the daughters of men. We looking at one side of the tracks now. Mahujael begot Methusael, and who did Methusael begot?
Methusael begot Lamech.
He begot Lamech. So now Cain's descendants that went way down, haven't it? It's about 5 generations already. 19. Well, we ain't gonna read 19. That's That's enough for Cain. Go to skip down to verse 25. Because now we got to get the other side of the tracks. See, it's two sides of the tracks. Sons of God, daughters of men. That's all it is. There ain't have to be no angels from heaven. 25.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth.
Oh, we had to get somebody else in there to start the other side of the tracks going. You know, they living over here. Cain got the boot. He over here, right? He got the boot. He went out from the presence of the Lord on the east of Eden, built a city, doing his thing. He is doing his thing, though, over here, though, right? But the Lord got something going on for some people that's going to be walking with him on the other side of the tracks. And the Lord would prefer it stayed separate. Just like in Deuteronomy 7, the Lord told Israel when they went into the promised land, don't marry none of the women in Canaan or the son. Don't let your daughter marry the sons in the land of Canaan. Don't marry. Don't cross the tracks. Because they're going to take you away from serving me. That's what happened in Genesis 6. So now, Cain is living. He already killed Abel. Abel couldn't start the bloodline on the other side of the tracks because he was dead, right? He was righteous, but he was dead. That wasn't no good for the Lord. He going to get his reward in the kingdom, but he couldn't produce for the Lord's lineage. So it said Adam, at verse 25, Adam knew his wife again. That means they laid together again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. It's just like you got all kind of foods. People say, well, you know, even Cain, you know, somebody wrote me recently telling me, why don't you just tell the truth that Satan slept with, they got to get some angel sleeping with some woman, that Satan slept with Eve. I can't say that. I can't say that it's true because I can't read that in the Bible. Every time I read it said Adam slept with Eve. They said, no, Old Israelites saying that for years, to see Satan is literally Cain's father. No, Satan is spiritually Cain's father because Cain followed the works of Satan. But literally he not. The Bible say clearly in Genesis 4. Back up and read that. Just to kill this fool. Genesis 4:1. Back up and read. We're going to read everything. We get a chance tonight. Genesis 4:1. Go ahead.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain.
Oh, so who produced Cain? Adam. How can you go crazy and say that Satan slept with her? It don't make no sense. But then we know Abel came and Cain killed Abel, so now we needed somebody else. Go back. 25 again.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth.
Oh, called his name Seth. Most people haven't heard of Seth, but he's of utmost importance because he's going to start the bloodline on the other side of the tracks. Here go the sons of God right here. Go ahead.
For God said, she have appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
See, it even mentioned that he was replacing Abel, who Cain killed, right? Even Eve knew that. She said, the Lord then provided me another seed instead of Cain, instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. Who was that other seed? Who was the replacement seed, the substitute seed? Seth, right here. He's of utmost importance. Most people ain't even heard of him. But he is the man to keep this going. 26.
And to Seth, to him also there was born a son.
That's why it's important. Because he came on the scene and he gonna produce. We saw already that Cain is producing over here, right? Had Enoch built a city, had son after son after son after son, didn't he? Now, it said in Seth, to him also there was born a son. What did he call his name?
And he called his name Enoch.
He called his name Enoch. But let's see what they doing on this side of the tracks. We know Cain. We know what he was on, right? Go ahead.
Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord.
Oh, they thinking on the Lord, aren't they? Right. They are spiritually minded. You think Cain them was thinking on the Lord? I don't think so. We saw the Lord. We could have read a little more how the Lord talked about him before he kicked him out. Talked about him, called him names. Get out of here. He was no longer a son of God. His mind wasn't on the Lord, but he kept on living, built civilization. See, that's how man is now. Man think because he's building civilization and doing stuff, got computers and all that stuff, it's okay. Look, God will let you go so far till he break your neck. That's what God will do. He let Cain go, didn't he? Cain kept on growing and growing and growing until finally the Lord got tired of him and he drowned them all. Drowned all of them except for some of this line right here. This line kept it going. Because it said, unto self, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. And then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. They seeking the Lord over here because these are the sons of God right here. Go right into the 5th chapter and pick it up at verse 3. We're going to save a little time. Verse 3, go ahead.
And Adam lived 130 years.
Uh-huh.
And begot a son in his own likeness,
Uh-huh.
after his image, and called his name Seth.
Wait a minute. Now it's going to run it down for you. The sons of God. It's going to run this side of the tracks down. We saw that side, didn't we? With Cain and Enoch, Methuselah, we saw all them, right? But now, verse 3 said, and Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness after his image and called his name Seth. Why do it keep mentioning Seth? Why didn't it, since Seth wasn't the oldest, why didn't it throw in Cain right here? We know Abel dead, Cain killed him, right? But still, why didn't it throw Cain in here? He was older than Seth, right? He would have been the first son in his image, right? Because he got disinherited, brothers and sisters. He was no longer worthy to be here. He over there. He wasn't worthy to be right here when it's going to run down the real deal. So he had a son after his image and called his name Seth. Skipped over Cain. Abel dead, but it still skipped over Cain, didn't it? Go ahead.
And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begotten sons and daughters.
See, overall, he had plenty of sons and daughters. That's where they all got their wives from. No other place. Go ahead.
And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died.
Now he died. Go ahead.
And Seth lived 105 years.
You see how it then separated this side from that side? It gave you Cain's bloodline over here, but it's giving you a whole nother side now. We're in Genesis 5. We're getting close to Genesis 6, aren't we? Because in Genesis 6, the two gonna meet. That's when they came together. Go ahead.
And begot Enos.
Now he had Enoch. He had a son. Told you they was even using the same names. Well, he had Enoch and he had Enos. But go ahead.
Verse 30.
Okay, Seth lived 105 years and begot Enoch, and it kept on going. Go ahead and read verse 9. I'm sorry, we're gonna throw that in.
And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan.
Okay, he had a son named Canaan. So it kept on going. Now skip down to verse 30 because this is the same bloodline. This bloodline kept on going, and the other one kept going. Go down to verse 30. Go ahead.
And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters.
See, it kept on going. Now Lamech, not to be confused with Lamech, that was Cain's descendant. Because he had, told you they used the same name. He had a descendant named Lamech too. We stopped off. If we'd have kept reading about him, he one of the first ones that had more than one wife. Lamech, Cain's descendant. But we stopped reading about him. But this Lamech is one of Seth's descendants. And he is the one that gave birth, that produced Noah. So now we're a good 10 generations from Adam now when we get to Noah. Lamech lived after he begot Noah. Probably more than 10 generations. But anyway, he lived after he begat Noah 590 years and begat sons and daughters. Verse 31.
And all the days of Lamech were 777 years.
777. Go ahead. And he died. They was living a long time. But these are all Seth's descendants. These are all the ones that's seeking the Lord somewhat, because we saw that men began to call on the name of the Lord when Seth had his first son, didn't we? And what happened? 32.
And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Seth, Ham, and Japheth.
He begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah was 500 years old. He begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. See, that's how I know all of Cain's descendants had to die at the flood, because these are the only ones which came from Seth all the way down. We just skipped to get to the cut to the chase, but Noah came through Seth. He didn't come through Cain. Cain had his own line going over here. So now when we get to Genesis 6, Cain had grew into a civilization. The Seth's descendants had grew into a great civilization that was still mindful of the Lord. Therefore, they were called sons of God, and they start marrying some of Cain's descendants. That's what we had in Genesis 6 now, right? We done worked our way back up to it. We just got the background first. So when you get to Genesis 6, that's when it said daughters were born unto them, and the sons of God, that's some of Seth's descendants, brothers and sisters. But now, let's go to Luke 3. Luke, the 3rd chapter. We already know it wasn't no angels. Angels don't get down like that. But this is just some more devilish doctrine. People just make up stuff to get you away from believing God's plan. Just like we saw, it is no celibacy law in the Bible for God's priests or his women of God. We seeing now that angels never slept with women and married no women. Luke 3 and verse 23, we're going to take it all the way back up from Jesus' time now. Go ahead.
And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli.
See, when Jesus, again, this how important Seth is, brothers and sisters. Jesus had to come from somewhere. Now, do you think Jesus was going to come from Cain? Couldn't come from Cain. So it had to be somebody else to produce, to keep the line of seed to get down to Jesus. Couldn't have been Cain. Cain got cut off. But Cain was producing, but his production stopped at the flood because the Lord drowned everybody but Noah and his sons, and Noah came from Seth. We're going to see that here. So Jesus, when he was born, he was, as was supposed, because he literally wasn't through Joseph, but he was made Joseph's son. And Joseph was the son of Heli, and it just keep on tracing it back. So skip back to 36. It keep taking it back up where we were just reading in Genesis. Skip all the way down to verse 36 and go ahead.
Which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Araphat.
See, it took Jesus all the way back now. Go ahead.
Which was the son of Shem.
See, that's Shem, what we just read, which was Noah's son. Go ahead.
Which was the son of Noah.
See, that's, even though it's spelled different, we ain't going to get mad. Oh, they took the H out. It's just a trick. Don't say no. Say Noah. We know who it's talking about, right? Which was the son of Shem, which was the son of Noah, which was what?
The son of Lamech.
Which was, we saw that already, right? Which was the son of Lamech. See, but now it brought it all the way back from Jesus. We just skipped to save time. You can read all them sons of when you get a chance. Go ahead, read a little further.
Which was the son of Methuselah.
Uh-huh.
Which was the son of Enoch.
Uh-huh. See, this is still Seth's side. Even though Cain had one called Methuselah, we finding out that it was a Methuselah on Seth's side, which was the son of who?
Which was the son son of Enoch.
Which was the son of Enoch. Go ahead.
Which was the son of Jared.
Uh-huh.
Which was the son of Mael.
Uh-huh.
Which was the son of Canaan.
Uh-huh.
Which was the son of Enoch.
Which was the son of Enoch. We read about him. Go ahead.
Which was the son of Seth.
Oh, which was the son of Seth. Didn't say nothing about Cain, did it? Why I couldn't trace Cain? Because Cain didn't make it down here to Jesus. He couldn't have produced Jesus at all. Couldn't even look like he produced Jesus. Which was the son of Enoch, which was the son of Seth. That's how important Seth is, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Which was the son of Adam.
Which was the son of Adam. See, it's important to understand. It's just like we all here today. We got to go back to somebody all the way back there, even though you don't know it. Everybody here got to go back to somebody back there. See, and that's important to the Lord. That's why He's putting this in here. Which was the son of Enoch, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam. Now, Cain was the son of Adam, but he can't be mentioned here because he got cut off on the other side, didn't he? Which was the son of Adam, and who was Adam?
Which was the son of God.
Oh, and Adam was the son of God. Adam was the son of God. So what that make his line, so to speak, sons of God, don't it? See, that's why Cain couldn't have been here anyway, because Cain was no longer worthy to be called the son of God, just like Satan and his angels wasn't worthy to be called sons of God in Genesis 6. So that's who it was. Some of Seth's descendants. Some of these people we reading about right here ended up crossing the line and marrying some of Cain's people, and that brought the whole world together. That brought both sides of the tracks. They didn't merge now. The Lord saw, this stuff is really messed up now. They didn't intermingle. I didn't want them to do that. Then he had to flood the earth. Shortly thereafter, he flooded the earth, and only 8 people made it, all of them from Seth's side of the tracks. Them was the only people found worthy. Everybody else had got polluted on both sides of the track because they had brought it together. Ezekiel 16. Ezekiel 16. We're going to go to the third leg now, which is legalized sodomy. That's really a devilish doctrine, because you got people in church going along with this now, where they saying it's okay for 2 men and 2 women to get married. That show you the world is out of hand. All this just mess up the fabric of God's foundation. Telling them a man and a woman they can't get married. They ain't going to turn around and lie and say angels didn't marry somebody. Now you're going to say 2 men can get married or 2 women can get married. Devilish doctrines. Ezekiel 16. See, people try to, see, it's one thing if you just do what you're going to do. Don't try to bring God into it and make it okay. Make it legal as far as God is standpoint, because you don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to the word of God. None of these doctrines don't fit with God. So even if you're going to say, well, look, we just going to do same-sex marriages, do not put God in it. Because God going to tell you what he think about it, and we're going to read it to you. Ezekiel 16. They try to read this. I seen somebody try to read it, mention it, and then Sister Mildred brought it up from Philly. She brought it up on one Wednesday night. She heard somebody on the radio, some preacher on the radio trying to quote this scripture when somebody brought up trying to tell them this same-sex marriage is crazy, and you know we back to Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh, that wasn't Sodom's problem. That wasn't Sodom's problem. Where the heck you get the word sodomy from then? That don't make no sense. Ezekiel 16 and verse 49. Go ahead.
Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy.
See, they try to read this. Boy, they real slick. They said, see, it wasn't same-sex marriage wasn't Sodom. That wasn't nothing bad. That wasn't Sodom's problem. See, this was Sodom's problem. What was Sodom's problem? Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters, neither she strengthened the hand of the poor to me. Oh, so because it don't mention same-sex marriage or man with man in that verse, we going to act like Sodom never did that? Look, she got a whole lot of problems. Look, the world got a whole lot of problems now. At the top of the list is this sodomy stuff, which come from the town Sodom. How in the heck you going to coin the phrase sodomy and even got laws saying it was illegal a few years ago, and then somebody going to turn around and act like that wasn't Sodom and Gomorrah's problem? And you didn't name the illicit behavior after the town. God named it after the town. The Bible is telling you about sodomy, which was named after the town of Sodom, and then you had Gomorrah and all the suburbs who was doing the foolishness. So yeah, they had other problems, just like it's plenty of problems in the world, but at the head of the list is this same sex stuff. You're going to legalize it. That's not biblical. That's not God's doctrine. Let's see what else was wrong. They don't read this. Go ahead. Verse 50.
And they were haughty.
See, Sodom was haughty. They was pride. You couldn't tell them nothing. Go ahead.
And committed abominations.
Oh, they committed abominations before me, God said. And what's some of the abominations? This sodomy. That's what's named after them. And we going to read it. They committed abomination before me. Therefore, what God do?
Therefore, I took them away as I saw good.
God wiped them off the map as he saw good, and he about to wipe the world clean as he see good. Because it's the same wickedness going on in this world. Same wickedness. Genesis 19, the best way is to go get it from the horse's mouth. Let's see what was going on in Sodom. See, this mess is outrageous. And the more people go along with it, the more aggressive Sodomites get. They get real aggressive. I ain't gonna lie, they probably going on now. They just ain't nobody talking about it. They get aggressive. They gonna even be, men gonna be raping some men. Not just, you heard about that in prison, right? But you're gonna hear more about it on the street. Because they out of hand with this mess. Genesis 19. Let's see if the Bible backed that up. 19:1. Go ahead.
And there came two angels to Sodom.
Okay, now this is the town, Sodom, right? Two angels came to Sodom. We just read in Ezekiel, people want to just use that one verse to try to say, well, they wasn't caught up in same sex. They just, just had too much bread. He was eating good and an idol, Look, they had more problems than just that. And we're going to see the main problem. One of the main problems anyway. Two angels came. And going back to the last phase of the lesson we was dealing with about angels sleeping with women, you got some of the foolish brothers trying to go along with that teaching. They try to use this and say that this actually what's going on in Sodom, angels with some men, with some women, but you don't read that in the Bible. I'm going to read the verse they try to use. But anyway, two angels did show up in Sodom, and we ain't going to see them sleep with nobody, even though some people tried to sleep with them. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Go ahead. Lot is Abraham's nephew. He got some sense. He not caught up in all of it. That shows you could be in the midst of a whole lot of foolishness and still keep your mind about you and keep your integrity and don't go for it. You can be in the midst of, Lot was in the midst of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he sat in the gate of Sodom, and they didn't like him because he didn't go along with the crap. Go ahead.
And Lot seeing them rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground.
See, Lot seen these angels. He didn't know they was angels, because angels can walk up to you just like men. So he didn't know, but he knew they were strangers, so he go to meet them, and he going to look out for them. Go ahead, too.
And he said, behold now, my lord, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the streets all night.
See, now Lot saw some strangers. They tried to look out for strangers. Like it said in Hebrews 13, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, whereas some have entertained angels unawares. Well, this was one of these instances where somebody, he was just trying to entertain some strangers. He seen some strangers. He said, look, let me help you out, man. Come on to the house and so and so. Yeah, we know you got to be careful nowadays because you let somebody in the house, you wake up dead. But, so you got to judge. But I still, even for years, you know, I still do it. Rather look at me crazy sometimes. I pick somebody up off the street. She be like, you letting them in here? I said, look, I got something for them if they act crazy. But, you know, I give them a ride or whatever. It be cold outside. I let somebody in the car. I keep my eye on them. But there's nothing wrong with that. So that's what Lot was doing, right? He entertained some stranger. He didn't know they were angels, unawares, just like it said in Hebrews 13. But they first denied him. They said, no, we ain't coming to your house. We're going to stay in the street all night. Oh, that's really going to get to Lot. Like, y'all don't know what's happening around here. Y'all got to be some strangers. Talking about staying in the street around here all night. Verse 3.
And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house.
See, he pressed on them greatly, like, y'all can't stay in the street. Come on home with me. Come on now. And they went ahead and they turned in. See, he didn't know they was there for him anyway. And they turned in unto him. Go ahead.
And he made them a feast, and did break unleavened bread, and they did eat.
See, angels can eat too, but go ahead, 4.
And before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house around. Both old and young, all the people from every quarter.
See, you can't just read one verse. You can't just read Ezekiel 49 or 16 and 49 and act like you understand Sodom and Gomorrah totally. You can't just do that. We're going to get it from the horse's mouth. This is Sodom. And these angels showed up, and all the men of the town of Sodom came around Lot's house because they knew some people that came in, some men, even though they was angels, they thinking they men. And what do they want with these men? Verse 5.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them.
See how aggressive they are? See how this mess get outrageous? They get totally aggressive. Think they got some rights now. Now they got the right to just rape somebody, right? Bring out the men that we may know. You know what know mean? Know mean the same thing it meant when it said Adam knew Eve, right? They want to know them. Bring them out unto us that we may know them. Verse 6.
And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him.
See, Lot embarrassed. He said, let me go deal with these people. These people crazy. They embarrassing me in front of my house guests. He went in and shut the door back. Went out and shut the door. Said, look, let me talk to y'all. Y'all ain't got good sense. What?
And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
Oh, so Sodom had more problems than just idleness of time and fullness of bread, right? And what we read in Ezekiel, they had a problem of what the name is named after, sodomy. Some men with some men stuff going on. They want to sleep with some men. All these men come to sleep with some men. They ain't worried about no women. That don't even excite them no more. You know you messed up. He said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Verse 8.
Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man.
He said, I got 2 daughters, and not only that, they virgins. He figured maybe that might get them excited a little bit. They virgins. They haven't known a man. Go ahead.
Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes.
But Lot was a faithful man. He going to look out for these strangers, even at his own hurt. Go ahead.
Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
He said, I brought them under my house to protect them, so I can't let nothing happen to them. I'll let something happen to my own before I let something happen to them. That's how you really supposed to think when you done gave your hand to somebody to look out for them. But that ain't going to excite them at all. Verse 9.
And they said, stand back.
they aggressive, boy. They said, get back. This, you see what he talking about? They mad because he got the audacity to offer them some women. You know their mind is messed up. Go ahead.
And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge.
See, he trying to judge us. Look at him. Because he told them they was on some foolishness and offered them some women. They mad. Now he going to try to say we tripping. You is tripping. Get back. We going to deal with him now. Go ahead.
Now we will deal worse with thee than with them.
See, now they going to rape Lot. We was going to deal with them men. We going to deal with you now. Go ahead.
And they pressed sore upon him, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
See, now they going to break the door. They going to rape Lot and break the door. They going to rape all the men that they can get to. But go ahead, verse 10.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door.
See, the men put forth their hand talking about these angels. And they yanked Lot inside and they shut the door. What else they do?
And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness.
See, they didn't know what they was up against. They thought they was dealing with some regular men. Now, these some angels with some power. You thought they was men. So they blind. They just did something real simple. Closed their eyes where they couldn't see. Gave them a quick blindness. All of them at the door, both small and great. Go ahead.
So they were wearied themselves to find the door.
Now they feeling themselves around. They can't do nothing now. Better go on back, try to find your way back home. The blind butt. But go ahead.
Verse 12. And the man said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters? Whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxed great before the face of the Lord.
See, they trying to get rid of Lot. They say, we getting ready to destroy this place. But now, skip down to verse 23. Skip down to verse 23 and go ahead.
The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered to Zoar.
See, Lot got out of there. They told Lot to get ready. Go get your son-in-law, because his daughters had some men, but they just hadn't laid with them yet. But they didn't want to listen. They thought Lot was crazy. When he telling them, look, the Lord getting ready to destroy, let's get up out of here. Same thing going to happen in our time. The Lord going to tell his people to flee and got a place of safety where you can not, he ain't got to rapture you to heaven. He didn't rapture Lot to heaven, did he? No, he told Lot to run. Get out of here. Get to stepping. His wife moved too slow and looked back and she died. You don't want to be like her. But they got to stepping. That's how they escaped. Well, the Lord going to do the same thing. As you're going to tell some people you know, and they're going to think you crazy. See, we ain't guessing what we talking about. We ain't talking about no rapture going to come on some certain day. Some of these people that came up with. Now, we going to know when it's time to flee, because we got the signs in the Bible. But anyway, Lot entered into Zoar, then what, 24?
Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven.
Then the Lord poured it on them. Soon as Lot got to safety, the Lord poured it on them, fire and brimstone out of heaven. Go ahead.
And he overthrew those cities.
He overthrew them. Go ahead.
And all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city.
And
that which grew upon the ground.
Go ahead.
But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
See, his wife messed up. She did exactly what the angel told her not to do. Told none of them, don't look back, get out of here and don't even look back. And she looked back. She had too much concern about that, and it was over with. Now, go to Jude. It's only one chapter. Show you how the Bible works. We in Genesis, the beginning of the book. We're going to the end of the book. Jude is right before Revelation. One chapter, Jude 1, and we're going to read verse 7. Matter of fact, this is one of the verses some of these brothers that want to make angels sleep with women, they try to say that's what was going on. This verse mean that was going on. Angels sleeping with women. You didn't see nothing inside. We didn't see nothing about no angels sleeping with women. We saw some angels in Sodom, but the men tried to sleep with them, and of course they didn't, did they? And they didn't know. You can't say the men was going after angels because they didn't know they was angels. That's what people, just twist it up. Try to make something fit. Let's see what it say here. Jude 1:7. Go ahead.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication.
Oh, that's what their problem was. This is another one of their problem. See, this same-sex marriage, that's another form of fornication. They caught up in it. The world is caught up in it just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them, all the little cities around them, the suburbs, all of them caught up in it. In like manner, giving themselves over to fornication. And doing what?
And going after strange flesh.
And going after strange flesh. You're going to let some brother tell you this mean some angels were sleeping with some women. It ain't got nothing to do with that. We know what it is. We saw they was going after some strange flesh. Some men trying to deal with some men. That's the strange flesh. Going after strange flesh. So Sodom had more than just fullness of bread and idleness of time, didn't they? They had this too, didn't they? Going after strange flesh. That's what you doing when you a man looking at another man hard. Go ahead.
Are set forth for an example.
See, they are an example for us. Go ahead.
Suffering the vengeance of eternal fire.
See, the Lord burned them down to the ground. That's an example for us. It was pretty bad. The Lord said, I can't do nothing but burn it down. 2 Peter 2. Back up to 2 Peter 2. And we're going to wrap it up. 2 Peter 2 and verse 1. 2 Peter 2 and verse 1. Because you got people want to make this, even in church, want to make this okay. Churches signing on the line, say, yeah, well, it's okay. Even, you got churches ordaining priests. That's one thing, even though Rome is messed up talking about the priests need to be celibate, they're not openly accepting this. That's one good thing about them. 2 and 1, go ahead.
But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who shall bring in damnable heresy.
Oh, see, this is this same stuff. That's the title of the lesson. Devilish doctrines. They just came up with some devilish doctrine. We saw that celibacy is a devilish doctrine. We saw that some falsehood angels with women. Now we dealing with this legalized sodomy. They're going to legalize a sin. Like it say in Psalm, man would take iniquity and frame it with a law. But he said here, these false prophets going to come. There were false prophets among the people back in the old days. Even as there should be false teachers among you. And that's even down nowadays. And what they do, who privately shall bring in damnable hearsay. See, he's talking about some teaching you're going to try to establish. He ain't talking about nobody just running the streets doing wrong. Like I said, if you want to just go ahead and be a sodomite, just be a sodomite. Don't act like it's okay with God. Maybe you can get your act together because you can repent from that foolishness. You can repent from it. Don't try to make it like it's okay with God. You fooling yourself. Damnable here says, even what?
Even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
See, this church people doing this. He talking about verse 2.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways.
See, a lot of people following these devilish doctrines or damnable hearsays. Go ahead.
By reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
Because these preachers is the ones lying to you. They really got you. Go ahead.
And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you.
Some of them ain't concerned about nothing. They ain't going to tell you the truth long as you giving them money. Because they covetous, so they using false words and they trading you off for the money, sending you to hell. Go ahead.
Whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not.
God gonna get them. Go ahead.
For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell.
See, he didn't spare the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell. And when he cast them out of heaven, hell in this case is the earth where he kicked them to. But when he kicked them out, they were no longer called sons of God either, were they? Go ahead.
And delivered them into change of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment.
He would not refer to them as sons of God then. Go ahead.
And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
See, he didn't spare that world. And the problem was not that some angels slept with some women when he got ready to flood the earth. But he didn't spare that word. That show you God don't play. He didn't spare that world, only saved Noah and 8 people. And Noah preached to people, they didn't listen. Go ahead, just like we preaching, they ain't going to listen. Some will, thank God for that, but the majority won't. Shame on them. Verse 6.
And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemning them with an overthrow.
Now that's what we want to get to. He also turned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes. Condemned them with an overflow. And we saw they was going after strange flesh. We saw they tried to sleep with the men that came into Lot's house. They thought they was men, they was angels, but they didn't know no better. Lot thought they was men. He offered his daughters up to spam. Go ahead.
Making them an example to those that after should live ungodly.
See, that's an example for us. We can't do it. We can't do the same thing they did and think it's legal. It's okay. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And delivered just Lot.
He only delivered Lot. He only delivered Lot and his 2 daughters. His wife didn't even make it. But he delivered just Lot. And what was Lot's state? Go ahead.
Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked.
Oh, Lot was vexed with that mess. Just like I'm vexed with this mess now. And you should too. He said he delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. The filthy way that the world is now. Go ahead, verse 8.
For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds.
See, that righteous man, talking about Lot, dwelling among them in Sodom and Gomorrah. It said it vexed his righteous soul from day to day. Just like, hey, I had to take my daughter out of school. She go to school, some girl telling her, you my good friend. They friends one day, the next day, you my fiance. That's the end of that. Gave her some kind of bracelet. I said, you better get that mess back to that girl the next day. It's outrageous. For that righteous man dwelling among them in seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their what? With their unlawful deeds. They doing unlawful deeds, but you're going to legalize it. You're going to legalize sodomy. Don't fool yourself when it comes to God, though. This is the state of the union right here. Go ahead, verse 9.
And the Lord knoweth how to deliver the ungodly out of temptation.
See, this is the good thing for us. All we got to do is stay the course. Because the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations. This showed up some temptation, boy, this wicked world. Go ahead.
And to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished.
See, and you want to be unjust, he going to save you too, so he can bust your head in the end. Deuteronomy 23. We almost done now. Deuteronomy 23. But these are all devilish doctrines. People want to legalize something that clearly is a sin in the Bible. Preachers going to try to stand up and say, yeah, well, see, Sodom and Gomorrah's problem was not same-sex marriage. Look, they got the word sodomy, which even in man's book has been illegal up until recently. They got the word sodomy, committing sodomy, from the town Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's in the Bible. Deuteronomy 23, and verse 17, and God saying, don't do it, don't be one. So we know we can't just rely on Ezekiel 16 and 49 and say Sodom's only problem was they had too much bread and too much idle time. Deuteronomy 23 and 17. Read that.
There shall be no whore of the daughter of Israel.
Well, we know what a whore is, right? That ain't changed. That's not legal yet. Well, it's legal somewhere, but that shows you how bad it is. But there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. What else?
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Oh, nor a sodomite. The Bible tells you don't be a sodomite. What's that? Don't have too much bread? Don't never get